what the what is. Piper and I wrote to each other while she was in prison. She even printed one of my letters in her well-written book. The thing about chronicling life in prison is an autobiography, the thing about chronicling life in prison in an autobiography is that you can easily feel like a fraud, aware that by simply publishing your story, you become exactly unlike the typical prisoner. So you sit at your desk and you tell yourself shit like, who am I to write about this population when I am clearly not them? Or you tell yourself shit like, I only did a year in prison, so it's almost like I didn't do any time at all. As if a year in prison is like doing wino time one weekend in a Mayberry RFD's jail cell. Then toss in a tinge of survivor guilt for leaving the prison while some of your dear friends behind the walls will never get out, or they died there while you did your bid with them, and the whole feeling of otherness from your old prison friends gets even more acute. Then there are some knucklehead prisoner rights activists who would criticize us for writing about our fellow prisoners, believing that our stories will feed into criminal stereotypes that they are trying to combat with their work. So the writers of prison memoirs bump up against a lot of excuses why not to write our stories, which is why when someone like Piper writes a great one, it's a cause for celebration. Piper tells a great story. I laughed, was reminded often of the sometimes zaniness of prison and the sex agonies, the fortunate camaraderie, the surprising long periods of banality, the hidden likenesses between the guards and prisoners, the collaborations, the antagonisms, the pain of family visits. Piper writes with a steady gaze. She has that ease of prose that all writers want, the ability to write in both a tough and tender voice without sounding either drill sergeant-y or sentimental. My favorite stories to write in my memoir were the stories of my fellow prisoners. Bringing them to life again was fun because I got to know them again better in some ways, because I could live with all their large stories compressed and therefore concentrated in my memory. And I could appreciate their extreme language, their posturing, their sly kindnesses, their vitality, while now being outside. And I could appreciate how they had not given up even though they had been behind bars for so long. Some of them became my heroes the longer I spent out here. Some of my favorite parts of Piper's books are the stories of her fellow inmates. The prison world is full of the same stupidity you find out here. You'll find the same sloppy sufferers, the same professional prevaricators, fantastic fornicators, addicts of every stripe, basically the same wide range of human behavioral tics that you'll find in the general population. Piper spotted them on the prison tier and the prison yards that she did time on, and now we are the beneficiaries of her skill at bringing them to life. Thank you, Piper, for the courage you had to make yourself naked on the page, to explore both the territories of the prison tiers and the landscape of your soul with honesty and smart storytelling talent.